There you go.
Welcome back, everyone. So, lesson 2 about our beautiful Springboks. They said that penalties are just as important as tries. Now, the penalties and the conversions, don't criticize me if I get it wrong, you score like 2 or 3 points. And the try is the big moment where I think you score 5. But some teams, they structure themselves all about going to get the try. What the Springboks did is they said penalties are as important as the tries. The small wins, the little incremental moments are as important as that massive try. The Springboks actually did that incredibly well because a lot of you watched the game. They took every opportunity to put a small point on the board, and of course the tries eventually came. They did very, very well. At the office, it took me a while to realize that the equivalent for us is small deals versus big deals. I live in a corporate, and they celebrate the 280 million rand deal. They never celebrate and hardly speak about all the little deals. But those little deals are so incredibly important because the big deals are far and few between. So the little deals, they help us with our cash flow, with our run rate. They keep our guys inspired and on different projects. Those little wins are so important. Unfortunately, we've nicknamed them the rats and mice business. A very negative connotation now that I listen to the strategy that the Springboks applied, where those small deals are as important as the big deals. So we're going to have to work on renaming the rats and mice to something far more inspirational. At Toastmasters, it was interesting in trying to apply this particular lesson to Toastmasters, but it didn't take me long. At Toastmasters, there are many, many small wins, and eventually there is that massive try when you come up and you deliver a prepared speech. But my first small win when I joined Toastmasters, I was sitting where Johan is sitting today, and I thought I could just come here and listen for 3 hours. And the then current president stood here and said, please will you all take a moment to introduce yourself. Panic, fear, disorder set in immediately. My knees were shaking. And as I was sitting there and I had to stand up and simply say, my name is Tanya, I'm here to attend my first Toastmasters. I could hardly breathe, I broke into a sweat, my hands were shaking, my knees were trembling, and as I sat down to try and have some water afterwards, it was doing something like this. But it was my first small win at Toastmasters. Harold is my mentor. Harold then encouraged me to try my next small win. And he suggested I try to participate in the area of Toastmasters called roles. The first role he suggested, which I was terrified of, was Sergeant at Arms. And that day, I found it incredibly difficult that I had to now not only just stand up over there in my chair, safe space, but I had to come up here. And on a few occasions say less than 30 seconds worth of words. I was terrified, I did the role a few times before I suddenly found myself comfortable. Another incredible small win. Harold then said, now all roles, Tanya, go for it. I was getting kind of excited, and I asked him what role he suggested next as my mentor. I went on to fulfill pretty much every single role except the one Mandy is fulfilling today, which is the Madam Evaluation Chair. And as I played each of those roles, my confidence went up. I was getting one small win after the other, and I felt like I was putting points on that scoreboard like no one's business. And one day I thought I was ready now to do my first prepared speech. My icebreaker was my first try. And subsequent to that, I have delivered a few speeches, so I have a number of tries under my belt, and I have many, many small wins as well. And together, they have helped me feel like I'm winning my own personal World Cup. One of these wins that is for me personally very difficult to do is table topics. It is part of the program that allows you to move from just introducing your name, or for me then doing Sergeant at Arms, to between that and getting to a prepared speech to try table topics. It is a way of delivering some public speaking without all the intensity required to prepare for a prepared speech, that try. But it is a moment that is incredibly important in your journey. So I'm going to hand over to Kobus. It also has a lot of fun in it. I'm going to hand over to Kobus, who's in charge of table topics, and I encourage all of you to put some points on your own board.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Toastmaster spoke about the rats and mice, and this is one of those moments. If you haven't done a speech before, prepared speech, table topics is a very good way for you to get a bit of confidence, to get up here and speak without having to prepare all these long words that you need to speak. I'm going to ask you to be tenacious today, because today you're going to have a bit of a challenge. I've got 16 little sheets of paper here, and each one of them has got a very difficult English word on it. Now, the challenge is a little bit different. I don't expect you to know what the word means. I expect you to tell me what it means to you. How do you interpret that word? So there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever this word makes you think of, that is what you're going to talk about for at least 1 minute and up to 2 minutes. I have quite a few victims here today, so it's good. I will start off with Nandi, because she was the first one to come and say, I'll do table topics today. Please, Nandi, you can come.
Oh no, not that guy.
So what does this word mean? It could be fictitious, anything. It doesn't have to be the real meaning. But you need to tell me what that word means. You've got 1 minute to 2 minutes.
Can you pronounce it?
Try and say it.
Okay, that's the only thing I can do. I can pronounce the word is tokamak. Tokamak.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to look at you now. Okay, the word means nothing to me because absolutely I have no idea what it means. But since I'm here, then I will say something. It sounds like a Chinese place, somewhere in China, maybe in the middle of China. Quite a hectic place with a lot of people, maybe like a market, people selling. When things are half price, maybe in the evening they even get cheaper. To me, that's what comes to my mind when I see it.
Very nice, thank you very much, Nandi. The actual meaning of the word, for those interested, it's a donut-shaped chamber used in infusion research.
Sure. You would find that at the
Well,
Chinese office. Like you would so find that there.
Mandy, up next, please. Do not look on my phone here, that's where the definitions are.
May Google be with me.
Any, please.
Sure. Right. Mike. Thank you.
There you go.
Mr. Table Topics. Zug's Wang. For anybody who doesn't know what Zugzwang is, you can find it, the market in China, because everything comes from China. But this, I do know actually what this means, because I went to China. And I spent 14 days there, and I went through all the streets and the markets. Some of it very scary, others not. But this is a tiny round cock. It's a stainless steel cock, and it's got little inserts around it, similar to a blade that you would cut stone with, like a segmented blade. But it's a tiny, tiny cock. And this cock is universal. You can use it in multiple applications. Our engineer Dino has used multiple of these Zerg wangs in his profession. He really, really has. And as we all know, a cog joins in with other things to make things move. So now you all know what it is, how you can use it, and where it's found.
Nice one, Mandy.
Nice.
Nice.
There you go, Mandy. For your
Just
Mandolino.
interesting.
So, here is, well, I wouldn't know if Mandy's definition is actually a real definition or not, because she counted on Dino to give us, to affirm her beliefs.
Yep.
So it might be right, it might not be right, but
Just
the
terminology.
definition that I have for that is, in real life, it's sort of like when you clearly have to say something, but there is nothing you can say which won't make you look like an idiot or a freak. Next victim is Kanyani.
Fun wag. Well done, well done.
It's up to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, guests and visitors, fellow Toastmasters, my name is Kanyani Zazewa. Allow me today to teach you a new word. This word, oh, before I even pronounce the word to you guys, to this word, it is up to me to define what is it. So, it is up to you again to believe the meaning that I'm going to give you. It says fuzzy. F-U-Z-E-E. So, this is an energy drink, guys.
There you go.
This is an energy drink, guys. So, and the healthy one, the organic one, not those of, I don't want to mention names, otherwise you know the monsters and stuff and all the other things. But this one is very much organic. This one is from China also, guys. It's very cheap, but I like it because it's healthy. I'm not energy drink person, but this one I'm going for because it's organic. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you have enough energy, but it doesn't hurt sometimes to fill up a bit with this one. It will help. It will, you know, sometimes when you're from work, after work, the energy is so down. This is what you need, not the, you know, the other ones, the well-known ones, but this one definitely you need it. Then it's going to boost you a bit. Thank you.
Fusee. A friction match with a large head that will stay alight in the wind.
So it's not a floozy.
Well done. Michaela, victim number 4.
Yeah, nice.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michaela, and I'm going to speak to you this morning about the reason I'm standing up here. There was a bit of a murmur in my head this morning, and I thought, should I come to Toastmasters or not? I'm not a member here, I'm just a guest. And there was a murmur, as I said, or a myrmidon. And Dino said he was doing a speech, so I thought I'd come and support him. I'm a very supportive wife, and I only come here when he's saying a speech. And then people convinced me that I should stay for the whole 3 hours, and that I should participate in table topics, and that is why I'm up here. Dino and I also started the year off there was a quote from a movie we watched. It's called Serendipity. It stars John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. And the guy in the movie talks to John Cusack's character, and he says the Greeks had a philosophy where they, once a man passed away, they only asked one question: whether a man had passion. And if he lived with passion, and whether he was someone who was a fool to go after what he wanted in life. And so Dino and I actually started the year sort of as a resolution in the beginning of the year to say, let's be fools this year. People are going to think we're crazy to stay in the country when people are leaving. People are going to think we're crazy to vote for a party when other people aren't voting. People are going to think we're crazy to start a business in this economy. Let's just be fools. Let's just do it. So that murmur that started at the beginning of the year to say, let's go ahead, is the same murmur that made me stay here this morning and do the table topics. Thank you.
The official definition of myrmidon: a follower who carries out orders without question.
I'm a myrmidon.
So Dino said, you will come this morning and you will. So it was a murmur and a myrmidon at the same time.
Don.
Next, Rita, is David.
Don.
Banzai. The first time I heard this word was when I was about 5 years of age, and I started to read comics. And there were comics about the Second World War. The Japanese were involved in the Second World War, and they were fighting against the Western Allies. And I remember, many occasions when some Japanese pilot was flying up there on a bombing mission, and he would shout "Banzai" before he drops a bomb. And I also remember also watching many comic characters, Japanese, when they were on foot fighting in the jungles of Korea and whatnot, and the word "banzai" was coming up. And I've come to associate banzai, a word that is meant to infuse courage, to master courage, to bring up courage. So standing up here in front of you this morning, I want to say banzai.
So far, David is the only one who's got the definition accurate.
Wow.
Banzai, a Japanese cheer of enthusiasm or triumph. Please call on Johan. Can I come to you, Johan? Yeah, thank you.
Pyknosis. That sounds rude. I don't think so. Pyknosis. It also sounds Greek. Is that Greek, Michaela?
I think the beginning part is, yes. The root of it.
Pyknosis. I haven't a clue. But Pyknosis. Let me think about that. I told you this morning, Harold, I do think sometimes. Not often.
I can see the smoke coming out of your head.
Pycnosis, well, to pick up something. Oh. Thanks, this is a really difficult one.
Just like any word that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be accurate.
I know. It isn't going to be accurate.
Oh, okay. Just in case you were wondering.
No. Pycnosis. Well, hypnosis.
It's like being hypnotized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hypnosis.
I'm going to sit down and think some more.
Thank you very much, sir.
It means to think. Quite. Absolutely. To ponder.
Thank you.
The official definition of pycnosis is the pig's nose is big. No, just kidding. It's the degenerative state of a cell nucleus.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh, botanist.
Ephraim, please come forward. Mr. Timekeeper, after this one, can you just give me an idea of how much time we've got?
I really felt this when I saw the mountain take out his blade and cut off Lysander's head. And I was like, no man, this is a Panglossian. From that moment, I really felt that I've been passionate following this story since season 1. And now we're at season 8, episode 4, and they are busy throwing Panglossians in our faces. I was really disappointed. Truly disappointed. And when I then saw Daenerys dying, and Jon Snow being cast away into the further north, it all showed me that I shouldn't have supported this thing from the beginning. Because it was built by Panglossians. Hello guys, I'm a fan of Game of Thrones.
In terms of behavior, you're spot on. In terms of definition, not so much. Panglossian, characterized by or given to extreme optimism, especially in the face of unrelieved hardship or adversity.
Well
Very
done.
good, yeah. Read the scenario behind the name.
How many more can I take? I don't care. Any
No,
idea?
you're good.
No, you can carry on.
Lots of
10,
fun.
10 more minutes if you want.
Okay. Victor, please come up and help us out.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
As I stand here tenaciously, I can only think about what prolix means. It reminds me of a dinosaur in the ancient days, because there were Tyrannosaurus rexes, and there must have been prolixes as well. It's obvious. There were prolixes as well. Struggling to really come up with something with prolix here, but if if I don't use dinosaurs, I could use Rolexes, because Rolexes also rhyme with Rolexes. That's an easier one. And so every time I wake up in the morning, if I had a Rolex, I would wear it, make sure it matches my belt and my shoes, and I don't know, people walk around, see me and say, that's a really nice Rolex. Yeah, this is a hard word. But hey, I hope one day I get to buy Rolexes for all of you.
Is it a dinosaur or what?
Prolix. Piece of writing or speech of great, boring and probably unnecessary length. You felt that one because your speech was not boring and not unnecessary length. Well done.
I'm so happy you pointed to me. That's a problem. Thank you.
Harold, are you up for a challenge?
Probably not.
Mr. Table Topics Master, ladies and gentlemen, you know sometimes when you travel and you eat this funny stuff, it goes in and it just somehow doesn't come out. But you take this stuff called soffit. You got to be a little careful though, because if you take too much of it at a time, you can land up in a very embarrassing situation. And if you're on an aeroplane and all the doors are locked and you don't know what to do, you can't say to the air stewardess, I just took soffit. They don't know what soffit is. It's a very special medicine that you take for this condition. So you can get it from me, I don't mind. I sell it for a good price. Come and talk to me afterwards for your share of soffit.
The official definition of soffit, the underside of a part of a building, such as an arch.
Ah. I just felt soft.
The only people that are left are the ones who have already spoken or had another task. So shall we cut it here? Or can I take one or two more?
Maybe two more.
Okay. Next up, Hugo, please. Nebbish. Nebbish.
I like to travel. In fact, from a very young age, I've always liked to travel. We were very well off, so my very first trip was only when I was 16, and that was to Durban. But years later, when I started working, I was able to earn myself a little bit of money. I decided that I wanted to go to the Himalayas. And off I went with a few friends. Interestingly, about this part of the Himalayas that we went to was a mini golf course. Right? Now, the idea here, amazing construction, was you'd hit a ball over what was like a wall of sorts, but almost like a natural wall, and try and get the ball into the hole. Right, there were a number of holes. So I went first, right? Bam, hit the ball, and a call came from the other side. Nebbish! Bugger, I got it. I went a few times. Suffice to say that eventually, when my friends and I did go around, we actually hadn't hit into the hole, would hit the ball into a lady's backyard. So Nebish was wrong hole. Thank you.
That was a very tenacious interpretation of the word nebish, since it actually means an adjective meaning, a noun meaning someone, usually a man, who is feeble and scared of stuff. Shall I call my last victim, Dino?
English major, yay.
No, English is also okay. Don't need to be English. It's bad.
Living in South Africa is kind of an amazing thing. I classify myself in this country to be Italian, just because of my background, my heritage, where I was brought up. Every single Saturday I'd go and actually have lunch with my grandmother, whole family fed, like everybody, like a massive table, like grandchildren and family members sitting at the table, and this massive like family orientated meals, and it was like Italian going around. It was lovely. Then I'm sure you experienced quite a few of those events in Italy. And so it's weird. So I'm Italian, cool. I went to Italy, and as soon as I arrived there, I was talking to all these Italians, and they're like all very passionate, and they're like, oh, okay, where are you from? And I'm like, I can't say Italy, because I'm not Italian. I'm talking to the Italians over here. So I'd have to say South African. So it's like, it's very mixed. I want to say I'm kind of mixed up emotionally when I go traveling, because like, what do I actually say? But there is something that is like, something really South African that makes me who I am, and I'm sure all of us can relate to it, is our mothers in our lives. Everyone has a mother. But here in South Africa, we actually call our mothers umami. So umami is the South African word for mother. Long journey right there.
Very well improvised, very well improvised. Umami, the meaty, savory taste that makes things like Marmite and gravy so more. More scientifically, it's the taste of a chemical group called glutamate.
So close.
So close.
Right.
With that, Madam Toastmaster, I am concluding my role as top class this morning.
Bravo, Kubus.
That was really good.
I think this is the time that we will vote for your guest speaker.
Shall I pull them out with the time?
Yes, the time and the word, if you were brave enough to try and write it down.
I will try.
Thank you.
Nandi with Tokamak was 40 seconds. Mandy with Zugzwang was 1 minute and 14 seconds. And Yanni with Fuzi was 1 minute and 30 seconds. What?
Adrian's being distracted.
Sorry.
Michaela with Myrmidon was 1 minute 31 seconds. David with Banzai was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Johan with Pycnosis was 1 minute 19 seconds. Ephraim with Panglesian was 1 minute and 19 seconds. Victor with Prolex was 1 minute and 8 seconds. Harold with Socket with 1 minute exactly.
No, 59.
Oh, shut up. Hugo with Lefbish was 1 minute and 45 seconds. And Dino with Umami went on for 1 minute and 45 seconds.
That's a technical.
He loves his mommy.
Thank you, Sandra and Arms, for collecting all the votes, and thank you, Harold, for the feedback. We are now moving into the next section of the meeting, and it is all about evaluations. Mandy, as evaluation chair, can I welcome you on stage? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This part or session of our meeting is dedicated to our speakers. Thank you all our speakers for preparing your speeches and standing up here bravely and delivering them. Our evaluation session is to provide some feedback to you as the speakers, areas of improvement as well as positive feedback of where you have been or where you are in your speeches. I will start as Dino was our first speaker and I am Dino's evaluator. So I've been a member of this club for 2 and a bit years, and Dino was here before me, and I've seen Dino complete his communication manual, which comprises of 10 speeches that is in there. And one of Dino's speeches touched me immensely a while ago, and it was on recycling. And because of him, we actually recycle in our home, and we still do to this day. And Dino has always had a lot of nerves, and he's always been extremely nervous in his speeches. Somebody, I think Adrian mentioned, at one point he was an R counter, and he had written too many ums and ahs off the page to comment on. And Dino, when I see you doing your speech today, wow, absolutely wow. You have grown so much. Your nerves were so under control. You even laughed a little bit at yourself when you lost your way. I was listening for these ums and ahs. I didn't hear any. Perhaps somebody will let me know shortly, but it was amazing. You had an interruption. You didn't even blink an eye with the interruption. You just continued. So I really want to congratulate you on that. It was fantastic. Well done. I loved the use of your stage. We had a past here, we had a present, and we had a future. Very well done on using that stage. I did notice some hand clasping, however. So if you're going to, as a room of, an area of improvement is to use your hands with purpose. So there were some parts in your speech where you could have used that as a body language, and I would encourage you to do that, and then just keep your hands down to the sides. You used tenacious in your speech, so well done. I thoroughly enjoyed that as a impromptu, and I congratulate you on that. I loved the Yaris's window. That was very powerful for me because a lot of people don't know maybe what that means, and it's when it's a window that helps you to look at yourself and understand where you are in your relationship with yourself and others. And I really, really enjoyed that part of your speech. Your grandfather clearly helped you and guided you to be what you are today. And it's amazing because Adrian and I didn't know our grandfathers, and they didn't guide us and encourage us like that. So for me, that was a huge impact on your life, and it was amazing. I do felt you could have started with him and ended with him instead of Oprah, because he was such a true inspiration in your life versus Oprah. I've actually got goosebumps about it. And you gave us a part of your life that when I look at an engineer, I think sort of maybe stiff and very busy and very, methodical and practical. And here you opened up about your passion and how passionate you are about this. And I want to congratulate you and thank you for that. I do feel you could have had those stronger openings, and perhaps that's the area to work on. So thank you, Dino. I look forward to your second speech, and well done. Our next next speaker was Hugo, and I would like to invite his evaluator, Obrina, up to the lectern. Good morning again. Morning. Morning. Especially Hugo. Thank you for your speech, and I'll start with what you're great at, which is capturing the audience. The start of your speech was very captivating because you were silent and everybody was wondering what you're going to say. So well done on that. You also have a subtle sense of humor. So you got a few giggles, which is great because it shows that people are enjoying your speech. I also like the way you incorporated the examples, the 3 examples of the tenacious people, being Charlize Theron, Sir Winston Churchill, and Michael Jordan. And you used people that are mostly well known, so people could relate to who you were talking to. And your closing was very powerful because you actually set a goal and you asked everyone to hold you accountable. So we look forward to you playing golf, and we will hold you accountable to that. What you may want to improve on is hand gestures, which you said I must look out for. So you used some great hand gestures where you said when you were putting a cap and you did show with your hands, and when you said, when you paused and gestured taking off, but your hands were clasping when you were not gesturing. So instead of where you said you wanted them, which is on the side. So you might want to improve on that. And the pacing as well. You were pacing quite a lot, so maybe you could move with a purpose. And to challenge yourself, I think maybe time yourself when you're preparing your speech, because you did go over by 25 seconds. But overall, I think you're a natural, and you just need to tweak here and there, and you'll be great. Thank you. Thank you, Obrina. I was sitting there so enjoying that, I didn't want to get up and come back on stage here. Thank you very much. Our next speaker was Lynn, and I'd like to invite her evaluator, Adrian, up to the lectern. Adrian.
Very much. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, guests and visitors. There you are, straight in front of me there. You really excelled in telling a story about your personal life there. I get the impression that you went to school, you went to Sunday school, and somehow you got into a state where you were a little bit of a lost soul. Am I right in thinking that? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And that sort of raised my curiosity, because I know where you are now as president of your organisation here. So you've gone a long way since being a lost soul, I'm sure. And one of the things I really liked in terms of storytelling in your personal life, your decision to go to India. I would love to know, I'd love to talk to you afterwards about what happened in India there. And then you went on to Lake Como. Now, I've been to Lake Como. I remember going on a school holiday and being there when I was, I think it was about 14 or something like that, on a school holiday. There's a beautiful place there. And then I can sort of picture you sitting on a veranda stoop there, looking over Lake Como there. And there's this Roberto, this gentleman, Roberto there, teaching you Italian. I assume that you still speak Italian.
Oh.
Molto bene.
A little bit.
But I really, that's where you really excelled, I think, in telling the story about your personal life. Now, in terms of what you might want to work on, I found that each topic was interesting. I would have loved to have a little bit of a pause between the topics. You're maybe going a little bit too fast. I needed you personally to sort of reflect on that sort of the image that you created, like a little sketch of an incident in your life there. So maybe you could think in terms of having a few pregnant pauses, if that's the right word to use there, for the audience to digest. I thought there's a possibility that you could have done a little bit more rapport with the audience there. In terms of challenging yourself, I think you had some notes in front of you. Throw away those notes, don't use those notes, and try and feel confident in the presence of your audience there. So that was a little bit of distraction there. But I'm really looking forward to the follow-up on your next speech there, learning a little bit more about you. Thank you so much, Lynn, for that presentation.
Thank you, Adrian. Every role-playing, or every part of role-playing is actually standing up here or standing where you are and giving a small impromptu speech. So thank you to our evaluators for listening to all the speeches and for all the valuable input that you have given our speakers today. It's much appreciated. Can I please call upon our grammarian and art counter to give the reports?
How tenaciously I'm going to take control of the meeting.
How are you? Okay. And the
Be agile.
timekeeping? That's
Leading
fine.
from the front.
I don't
Do
mind.
timekeeping if you like.
Can I ask for a vote?
Votes and time.
Thank you. Please may I ask for a vote? Thank you.
Thank you.
If you can please vote for your evaluators. And Ms. Toastmaster, I'm tenaciously very scared of you. My
That's why she's
general
kept it.
evaluation, when would you like that?
Right now. There you go.
Oh, I like that.
Leading from the front.
Do you want the time?
No, not yet. I don't know.
Time and
Votes. Oh, timekeeper, please may we have the time? No worries, thank you. That's okay.
evaluation.
The evaluators, Mandy, 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Perfect.
Abrina, 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
Okay.
Adrian, 2 minutes and 58 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Timekeeper. Much appreciated. So, the second part of my role is to have a general evaluation of our meeting. So I would like to say thank you to everybody for the lovely energy. It's been an amazing energy in the room today, very encouraging, lots of applause, lots of laughter, so thank you for that. Our theme for the year is Better Than You Think, and I love the fact that our Toastmaster for the morning has incorporated the theme into that, and a theme that we can all relate to in our recent amazing win for rugby. I said cricket earlier, so.
Yeah, she did.
I do feel that we need some keys, some backup keys that actually work in the box. Please, I know last time you all went on some holiday, which I wasn't invited to, and I know Dino was organising that. Maybe next time I make the cut, but can we have some keys just for the boxes, please?
Cool.
Okay,
I'll sort that out.
great, thank you. And then I'd like to thank everybody for the agility today. This morning, I think it might have been 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock this morning, I was on WhatsApp with Abrina saying, please can you take on the evaluation role, as Annika had messaged me to be in sick. So thank you very much, Abrina, for being the backup. Harold for finding the cards inside the box. Dino for finding the cards inside the box. Harold for understanding how to use the cards and working so agilely with them. Thank you for that on the program, for any changes that we've made. Thank you to everybody for just playing along and making it look so easy. I noticed we've got 14 members in our audience, which is fantastic, so I'd like a new photo for my thing. So we've got 14 members, so that is amazing. Thank you. Table topics, quizzes, wow, stunning. I'd like to, yes. Sergeant Anand, she makes us look like she does this on a daily basis. She just weaves in, weaves out. Kanyani's first, she's never done a speech. Her first role was table topics. Her second role is Sergeant at Arms. She's a total natural. Thank you, Kanyani. To our speakers again, thank you. And you all looked amazing. I'm really one for the speakers to dress the part. You look stunning, so thank you. And thank you to everybody. And that is my evaluation of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy, and obviously thank you all the evaluators. I described that there are 3 lessons that we were looking at with regards to the Springboks. The third lesson is that the Springboks stuck to their game plan no matter what. And before the game started, there's what you call like a match warm-up, where a lot of people discuss what the strategy of the Boks was for that game. And their opponents changed strategy halfway, but the South Africans stuck to their strategy no matter what. And I would describe that as tenacious, to stick to your strategy. I know it worked. We have a strategy, we have a business plan, and it is incredibly hard to stay committed to that business plan. When things go wrong, it is really hard to step back, remind yourself that there is a strategy, commit to the program, and to stay working towards that strategy. I had to reflect at Toastmasters and think, well, what is that in terms of Toastmasters? The Springboks stuck to their plan and were successful. What is it that we have at Toastmasters? And the answer for me was simple. Our strategy, our plan, is something called Pathways. It's all laid out there for you. What is amazing about Pathways, it helps you determine where your individual start point is. It doesn't have one start point for all of us. It helps you assess your start point. It gives you 3 plans to consider or recommendations. And what you then do is you start on one of those paths, one of those journeys. The message for us at Toastmasters when I reflect on the Springboks is get involved in Pathways, find out your start point. There is a plan, stay committed, follow the steps, remain tenacious to Pathways. It's probably the most important of the 3 steps when I think of how it reflects to us at Toastmasters. Now it is time for the grammarian. Team player grammarian. I forgot who the team player grammarian is. Fortune, team player, up. Do your thing.
Thank you, Tanya. We were very tenacious in using the word of the day. Thank you for that. Tanya used the word the most, about 4 times. And the following also made use of the word. Kobus, Victor, Dino, Abrina, and Mandy. In terms of good usage of English, I think overally there was good usage of English. I didn't note any bad English usage. Some of the English is not my first language, but some of the nice phrases that I picked up. Harold, flurry of action when he was describing fidgeting with the gadgets. Dino, copious amount of knowledge during his speech. Hugo, circle the circle, which was rectangular. Lynn, blow a hole into my future. Lynn again, like a sponge, I sucked up all the nuggets. And then again, the weather in my mind, describing the way you respond at a particular time. And then Tanya, my icebreaker was my first try. Thank you.
who is up is Hamza, our hard counter.
Two hours, 1 arm. Danyane, 2 hours. David, 2 hours. Brida, 2 arms and 1 arm. Thank you.
Well done. It's now time for me to wrap up. I'd like to quickly reflect on the 3 lessons. Lesson number 1. We can achieve anything if we work together as one. Hashtag stronger together. Here's to this Toastmasters team, who I believe work incredibly well together. Lesson 2. The penalties are just as important as the tries. Keep attending. Take a role. Try table topics. Do your icebreaker. And do a prepared speech and score your try. And lastly, and I believe most importantly, stay with the plan. Stay with the pathways journey. Stay committed, follow the steps, and you will win. Handing back over to our president, Lynn.
Mug comments, please.
Yeah.
Mandy for cricket.
The lady that doesn't know rugby.
Slip of the tongue is not a slip of the mind, by the way.
Don't worry, man, I didn't vote.
He actually did.
Look at the haters.
Talia, thank you. Fabulous. Role as Toastmaster. Right, we're going to do our meeting awards, and before I do them, I just want to remind you, and particularly those who weren't here at our last meeting, we had a wonderful panel discussion, care of Harold. He had to ensure consensus was reached around a particular topic, and we spoke about our meeting awards and whether we liked or disliked, what we disliked or liked about them. So we are going to change that up into the future. Not sure what it's going to look like, but we certainly value feedback and input from each of you. So, but today we're going to stick with our traditional because there was just too much going on to change it up today. Right. Let's do Mug first. I'm not sure I'll be able to read the handwriting, so bear with me. Harold, for your tummy medicine. Mandy, you're a mug for really convincing us that a zugzwang is a small cock. Tanya, you're a mug. Winning her World Cup, a fantastic theme that is well presented. Well done. Someone thinks you're a mug for that.
I know. I'm going to take it close to me.
It's a trophy, guys. Just give it
Nandi for questioning whether the word was English or not. Quirvis for suggesting the timing machine could be thrown at the guilty party.
Yes.
Victor, I'm looking forward to my prolex. Harold for Soffit. For dropping the lid of the food warmer and making a big bang.
Two.
And I don't know who was up, you have to remind me if it was the person who referred to rugby as cricket.
That was me.
Back to Johan, for not completing your table topics.